Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Hi, this is Dory. I'm very pleased to be talking with you today about nature spirits, and specifically how you might go about meeting the nature spirits.
Dory, what is a nature spirit and why are they important?
A nature spirit is, in summary, the spirit of any being that lives in the natural world. It could be a worm, the spirit of a worm. It could be the spirit of a tree. It could be the spirit of an owl, a spirit of a larger animal, any being that is alive. In shamanism, we believe has a spirit. And so all living beings, of course, are part of nature, and therefore something that is alive in the world, on the planet, is deemed to have a spirit and is therefore a nature spirit. And they are important to us because from a shamanic perspective, what we see and understand is that there truly is no separation between us and all beings. We are all very interconnected and interdependent. And so the degree to which we experience the beauty and the wonder and the fullness of life is somewhat dependent upon how willing we are and how active we are in connecting with the spirits of nature. So I would say that they are ultimately of grave importance to humans because we are not separate from them.
How can we prove that trees have a spirit? Or for that matter, how can we prove that any living creature has a spirit?
Proving anything with regard to spirit is nearly impossible. Humans have been trying for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years to prove the presence of a soul or a spirit in a human being. There is no way of measuring or scientifically proving that. And that is also true, of course, for the spirit of other living beings in nature. There's really no concept that we understand that allows us to prove it. The closest we have come from a scientific perspective would be those who speak about the unseeable, who are quantum physicists and to some degree mathematicians. Still, scientists struggle to try to prove this, and it is the unprovable. It's part of the mystery and the magic of knowing, of having the experience of the aliveness of the spirit of other beings and the aliveness of ourselves without having instruments to measure the experience.
What about pests like mosquitoes, black flies, ants, and squirrels? Do they have spirits? And what happens when someone intentionally kills them?
That is a great question. All living beings have a spirit. So the tiniest of creatures, that really annoying little black flies like we have here in Maine, or mosquitoes or beetles, and squirrels and other rodents, even those who are very, very annoying to us like rats, could be dangerous in ways. here in Maine, we also have brown-tailed moths, and they can be very dangerous to people who are allergic to them. Even they have a spirit. They have an aliveness. And when I say spirit, really what I'm talking about is something that is immeasurable. It's that spark of life. As long as something is alive, it has a spirit. And so, how do we reckon dealing with the spirit of these annoying, sometimes annoying pests? First of all, it's good to always remember that even the most annoying of pests has a role to play on this planet. They are here for a reason. They're either prey or they're predator or they do something on the earth which is an important function. For instance, mosquitoes provide food for the birds. They also do a certain amount of work in the water that is not always apparent to us, moving things around. So that's a place to begin, is to remember, oh, they are part of the fabric of life here on earth, and we must make peace in our hearts with the fact that they live here as well. Then there's the other more practical aspect of life as humans, and that is, okay, mosquitoes carry certain diseases, squirrels can bite you and also carry diseases, of course many other rodents like rats and mice and so on. So how do we deal with them in a way that is both compassionate as well as at the same time protecting ourselves? I urge people to do this. When it comes to like biting insects, wear some kind of natural insect repellent that will protect you from being bitten. And if you must, then you smack them. That just is the reality. It's really hard to not smack a mosquito when it's actively biting you, or the same with a black fly. But it's the intention with which you do it that really matters. If you smack a mosquito and say, "You evil, terrible little insect, I hate you," then that's putting a message out there into the world that is not benevolent. However, if you smack the mosquito and you say, "I'm really sorry, mosquito, but I need to protect myself," then that is sending love and compassion to the life, to the spirit of that mosquito, and allowing it to be, while at the same time protecting yourself.
I have a huge and stately tree right by my house. I would like to connect with its nature spirit. What would you recommend?
Trees are wonderful beings to connect with, and probably one of the most powerful spirits in nature that we can almost all easily encounter. To connect with the spirit of a tree, the nature spirit of a tree, then I would recommend going out and spending time with the tree. Do the best you can to either hug the tree, lean up against the tree, sit at the base of the tree, gaze at it, send it love, and at the same time absorb the power and the amazing grounding nature of the spirit of that tree. And as you do that, you will come to know the energy of the tree in ways that you may find at times beyond explanation. You may find that the back pain you've been having begins to ease as you allow yourself to sit with your back up against a tree. The tree is actually providing you with some healing energy in ways that are inexplicable. The other is to talk to the tree, either inside your mind. You don't necessarily have to speak out loud depending on where you are. Doing that in public might get you quite a few interesting gazes, but if you're in your own backyard or someplace safe, talk out loud to the tree and thank it for being there. Thank it for its beautiful leaves. Thank it for its ability to be a guardian of the space in which you live, for its being alive and providing you shelter from or shade from the sun or whatever. Be gracious and grateful, and it will respond to you. It really would choose to have a reciprocating arrangement or a reciprocating relationship with you if you were to give it the opportunity. And so that's the way we connect with the nature of any being in nature. Allowing ourselves to truly honor, respect, and relate. Openly relate. And in that relating, the spirits of nature will respond to you.
You began to answer this question already. What do nature spirits want from us? Is there some way we can be of assistance to them?
Yes, I did actually begin to answer that. And I would say what they want from us is to be acknowledged. They want us to notice them. They want to be in right relation with us. And if we acknowledge their presence and speak to them and intentionally connect ourselves with them, intentionally converse with them, thank them, be grateful for their presence, then they will return that energy to us in ways that we may not even begin to understand. They really are a part of our lives, and we must take that seriously. The more we do that, the more there will be deep healing, not just for humans, but for all beings on this planet. We are not separate from them. We are definitely not better than them, although many humans would argue with that. From centuries of studies and witnessing the beauty of connection with all of nature, we know indisputably from a shamanic perspective that we as humans are no different than all other beings. We have a consciousness, yes, but separate from consciousness, we are here sharing this planet with all these other beings, and to honor them is imperative.
Are nature spirits the same as elves and sprites and fairies?
No, they are not. They are elves, sprites, fairies, leprechauns, nature beings such as those that are in some ways mythological but nonetheless very real, are typically what we call spirits of place. And what their job in the universe is to tend to the well-being of an area in the forest or by the sea or in a wooded area. So they do energetically add to the spirits of nature, but they are of themselves not considered nature spirits. They're the spirits of place. Again, playing a very important role in the well-being of the nature spirits.
There is a magnificent field behind my house, and I feel as if it may have its own spirit, but the field is not technically alive. Can a place have a spirit, different from nature spirits and different from the nature beings that tend to it?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was just teaching a program a couple of weekends ago where we went out and worked specifically with the spirits of an area in which we were working. We were out by a lake here in Maine, and all of the students went outside to connect with who is the spirit of this place, and what does he or she look like, and is it important for us to connect with this spirit, and how do we tend to this spirit? How do we relate, and what does this spirit want from us, and what do we want from it? And so That is absolutely true. For instance, you could go to, someplace like Sedona, Arizona, which is very well known by many people as a very amazing sacred place. And you can be in that place and know that it is alive, that, many people leave there and say, oh, the spirit of Sedona is just amazing. Well, it is, because there is a spirit. There is the spirit of Sedona, just like there is a spirit of that field across the way from you. And it isn't visible to you. It isn't visible to most people. However, it does exist. And the more you pay attention to connecting with its spirit, knowing when it's well, knowing when it's not well, knowing when it's trying to draw you in, or say to you, today's not a good day to visit, then the more you are connected to the fiber of life on this planet. That was a beautiful question, and thank you for asking it.
At a place where I used to live, a tree across the street was commanding my attention one night as I sat on my porch. I could not take my eyes off of it. Within a couple of days, the tree was hit by lightning and was split in an irreparable way. It was cut down shortly thereafter. Was the nature spirit of that tree calling to me? And if so, what was it wanting or needing?
There's no way really for me in retrospect to have an answer to whether that tree was calling to you, the spirit of the tree was calling to you in some way. However, I suspect the spirit of the tree was really wanting to connect with you, to make a spirit connection with your heart, and was drawn to you, and therefore was in fact engaged in communicating. I couldn't speculate about whether it was attempting to let you know that there was, a lightning strike that would come, and that it would be split and irreparably damaged. What I would say that would be perhaps comforting for you and also helpful for the nature of for the spirit of that tree, as well as for your own spirit, is to know that the tree's life goes on, that it is, even though it was cut and, may have become somebody's firewood, it contributed to the ongoingness of the planet in some way. By creating fire, therefore heat, and perhaps it was used for making, wooden bowls or spoons, or who knows. But what I would say is important for you to know here is that you had that deep connection with that tree in that moment, and you can have that connection again with another tree or many trees. And know that that moment in time, that sweet connection that you had with that tree, can never be taken away from you or from the spirit of the tree.
This completes our questions. Do you have anything you would like to add at this time?
Not at this time. I just, would simply say stay tuned next week for more exploration around the topic of nature spirits, and specifically about magic and miracles.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on Shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.